Welcome to the Women in Business radio show with Sian Murphy, connecting women in business around the globe.
Hello and welcome into the Women in Business radio show studio. I am here as usual on a Thursday morning and I'm waffling on because I've been playing around with the knobs and buttons. Still don't know what I'm doing. How long have I been doing this? Goodness knows. Years and years. Still don't know how to bring the show in. Never mind. Welcome, as always, to my co-host, Adelle Martin. Hello, Adelle.
Good morning.
And welcome also to our guests in the studio today. We're welcoming back, actually. This is not their first time. We're welcoming back Laura and Barry Ash of Rock Solid Health. Welcome.
Hello. Yeah, it's not our first rodeo.
It's not, no. Let me just tell you, hello. Hello. Sorry, we forgot about Barry. Hello,
I'm
Barry.
the only man in the room, so I think you've forgotten about.
So together, Laura and Barry are Rock Solid Health, and they work with business owners and professionals to help them manage their energy to avoid burnout. So, guess what we're going to be talking about today? What did I call it? I called it Christmas Collapse, didn't I? After having said, look, we won't call the show Christmas Collapse, that was what was there, Christmas Collapse. So, I guess that's what we're going to go with. And I'm going to say now, we've got Laura and Barry back on the show in the new year. We're going to be talking about sort of doing some planning for the 2022 to really sort of avoid that burnout that we may all be feeling now at the end of 2021. So this is not going to be the only opportunity you've got over the next few weeks where we're going to be covering this topic. So we are actually going to be talking about, well, burnout, actually. And we're going to come back to a few facts and figures about that. But shall we, first of all, and I'm really hoping that you have got some stuff, because I haven't written anything down here. We have what is now become our usual little session about, what is it? What have we learnt this week? Mm-hmm. What tools have we got? What books are we reading?
Absolutely.
Right, OK. You are going to have to go first, Adelle. What have you learnt this week?
What have I learnt this week? So it sort of combines the tools as well. So I've learned that I was slightly behind on my Christmas cards, but also thinking about sustainability. I learnt on Canva in a masterclass how to do an e-card with a video, and I was able to get that out very, very quickly to clients as well. And it was somebody that just ran that class. So I realised, there's more to Canva than straightforward, and it got me out of a very big hole. So that's what I learnt this week. And that's what I did. It was a bit festive.
So, Laura and Barry, if we were decent hosts, what we do is actually say to you before you actually arrived in the studio that we have this little section at the beginning.
Well, I definitely learned something today.
What have you learnt this week? So I'm going to keep going round the table because I actually don't know what I'm going to say.
I've learned that servers can be in a room with up to 21 degrees Celsius.
There you go. We try and make it useful information. That's the trick.
Okay. So I've learnt today that no matter what is going on in your head with everything that needs to be done, right, just going and moving your body will make you feel 100 times better.
Okay. Why did you learn that today?
Well, I learnt that yesterday, actually, because I'm doing some extra training because we've got some competitions coming up next year and there's some goals that I want to hit. And the training I've been set is fairly difficult, isn't it? And I really didn't want to do it. There's so much going on. But I forced myself into the gym with my 3-year-old subconscious kicking and screaming with all the excuses. But I moved my body and I was actually surprised if I put all of my emotion and my energy into that workout, what I could actually achieve.
I agree with you on that, actually. Sometimes we're feeling a bit stuck and everything sort of, I don't know, it feels a bit stiff.
Yeah.
And I like the whole thing, we're all just, sometimes I can feel myself sat there almost sort of rigid.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. Now, I don't go along to the gym because I haven't got a gym in my house, and by the time I've driven to the gym, I could actually have got up and just done something. But just actually getting up and moving your arms around, putting your arms above your head, I think that's something sometimes that we actually don't do. We don't certainly when you get older, when you get to my age, you forget to put your arms up above your head.
Yeah, I went out yesterday morning and it was freezing. There was a frost on the ground, and I put my feet on the ground and did some grounding, and I just stretched up in the air, and it just felt so amazing even just to do that.
We do it as children, don't we? In our gym classes when we're at school, they're always getting us to put our arms up in the air, but we forget to do it.
Yeah.
So just do a few sort of punches and not anybody else in the room, no matter how you feel. And just get your arms moving a bit. And what I found is when I do that is that whatever it is that I'm stuck on,
Yeah.
mentally, or the place that I'm, whatever it is I'm working on that I'm stuck on, actually it may not loosen up, it may not reveal itself straight away, but I just feel a lot better. I feel like, okay, all right, let's get this up and do something.
Yeah.
Barry, have you learnt something this week?
Yeah, sending parcels in the post is expensive.
Okay, so is this about forward planning, maybe?
100%.
If you ever think about it, you possibly could have delivered it in November.
I ordered some hats for all our clients, and the postage was one price, and when I went to post them, it was like twice the price. So
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
Planning is key to this
Actually,
one.
do you know that is absolutely key if you're in business, isn't it? If you make a decision to do something like that, and we forget about the postage.
I did exactly the same, and I was the annoying person in the post office with 20 boxes because Adelle wanted black branded boxes and pink tissue paper, and then realised the size and the price. And when I had to swipe at the end, I was like, that's a really good idea. Next year I'm going to outsource that.
Are we going to worry about Adele referring to herself as Adele? Is this something? I'm not sure.
Honestly, it was hysterical.
Any views, folks?
You just have that great idea, I'm going to send presents. And absolutely, I had this fixed price that I thought, and I was literally, my face must have been a picture, because she said to me, yes, it's quite expensive, isn't it? I was like, yeah, it was a good idea at the time. But
I went home to see if I can get it cheaper online, and then I sent Loz back into the post office.
So, forward preparation.
Yes.
I think it's something. I mean, it is relevant as businesses, isn't it? Because we make decisions sometimes to do things to help our clients, to give a little gift and a little treat. And very often, if we're not thinking ahead, we just do this last minute, and something that you thought was going to cost a few pounds and be a lovely little gesture suddenly turns out you could just give them a whole new programme, couldn't you? You might. Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Live and learn.
Check your postage. Think ahead. If any of Rock Solid's clients are listening, all right, okay, forget about the hat. They spent a fortune on you guys.
Yeah, with the postage.
Yeah. What have I learnt this week? I have learned that it is all about planning. And what I have realised is that I thought I was taking time out to plan, but I was not. I was not taking enough time out, and I need to do a lot more of that.
Agree.
And also to open my mind to how I'm going in to do my planning. How do I explain this? So I caught myself going in with the viewpoint of how can I cut costs. And actually that isn't what I don't need to cut costs. I need to look at ways of funding what I'm doing, not cut the costs, not cut my expenses. I need to look at new options. And I just sort of caught myself doing that. So more planning, but also going in with an open mind. But that's really actually not that easy, because the first thing you have to do is recognise that you're going in with a closed mind, that you've already got a fixed plan of what it is you're looking to achieve. And, you know, what they say, the map is not the territory. If you go in looking to cut costs, that's what you'll get, is cut costs. You won't necessarily get a better business or a better service for your clients. So that's what I've learned. That shut everybody up, isn't it? Is it because you don't know what on earth I'm talking about?
We always say cheap is expensive.
Because I'm... no, it wasn't that I wanted to do stuff cheap. I was just looking at ways that I could perhaps cut costs.
Yeah, maybe the other way is looking at how you can do it more effectively.
Yes, yeah. I just sort of caught myself going in with this really narrow objective, and I wish I knew how I caught myself at doing it. I suddenly thought, why are you looking at it like that? No, don't look at it like that. Look at what is it that you want to achieve. You don't want to achieve cutting costs. So, no, because it's certainly not about cutting quality or cutting anything along those lines or decreasing value. It was actually silly things that I was looking at. I was saying, like, actually, we could combine that hosting with that hosting. Well, actually, no, we don't want to combine that hosting with that hosting. We'll end up with a compromise for us, not our clients, but for us. So, plan more, go in open-minded. What tools have you come up with this week? Anything, Adele?
In terms of tools, to be honest, apart from the Canva one to sort out the e-cards.
Oh, you've done one, haven't you?
I did find that, yeah, so I found that tool. And to be honest, I've now, because I've seen what you can do for e-cards, I'm now using that template and that tech for welcoming new clients. Again, it's better than standing or sending cards. Yeah, so actually I thought, yes, I went there for e-cards, but there are more opportunities in that software. Which I'm going to use.
I think that's a really valuable lesson, isn't it? Very often we have these things and we get used to using them in a particular way, but of course they're evolving and they're bringing on new services and they tend to eat the new features and they tend to email us. I don't know, I don't read them, do you? I haven't got time for all that. So I think it's really valuable to go back and actually go, okay, is this actually doing anything more since I signed up with it 3 years ago? I bet you it is. Yeah, my one's Ripple at the moment, RIPL, which is a way of creating images and posting them as well.
Yes.
You can have so many brands on there and so many platforms. It's about £10 a month.
It's really good value, Ripple.
It is superb value, but I've also started using it now, and the team are using it to create other images. So we have Canva as well, but we're using them for different things, and I'm finding it's a lot easier. You can create it. It's got some inspiration in Ripple, actually, that makes you... I quite enjoy using it. I quite enjoy actually going into it and using it. And for that, it's also got things like Shutterstock images in it. So you have to agree, you have to do like a little tick box to say that you're not going to use the Shutterstock images, say, for printed material or for anything else. But it does mean that you can actually get some really quite good quality images into your social media posts without having to pay Shutterstock. I mean, they're not nicking these images from Shutterstock. I'm assuming there's some sort of agreement in place. But also, the thing is, things like Shutterstock have much better search engine facilities, so that it's a lot easier to find an image that's relevant to what you're talking about, as opposed to perhaps shuffling endlessly through lots and lots of different free image websites, which you can find some fantastic images, but sometimes it's the search process that actually takes you the time. So I would certainly recommend that. I quite enjoy using it as well. And I think we've got 12 brands or something on there. I think I might have mentioned this last week as well. Ripple. I've still been playing around with you. See, I haven't done anything all week. I've just been
playing with Ripple.
Just been making images, yeah. Laura, Barry, have you got tools that you recommend?
So I've been using something recently that's helped us to get our courses out so that we don't have to basically do anything. We just put up a landing page, and it's something called Zapier. I don't know if you've heard of Zapier.
Yeah. I can't use Zapier, actually.
Oh, can you not?
No, I get terribly... I don't know. I get confused with it. I have to get somebody else to do it. But it's not that difficult, I know.
No, I know. So I was doing ClickFunnels to Thinkific using Zapier, but I spoke to somebody and they said better to use ClickFunnels. Then puts the email address on Aweber, but then the Zapier would be, as soon as that email address appears on Aweber, it then sends a zap over to sign them up to Thinkific, and it's literally been a lifesaver for us. Absolutely.
I think we ought to explain what Zapier is and what it does. It sort of joins bits of online software together. So if somebody puts their name and email and signs up to your newsletter or signs up to an opt-in or something like that, you can use Zapier to then connect it to another tool that it may not have an app integration for. Did that actually make any sense?
Yeah, because I use Integrately, which is the same principle. It's just a different brand.
Yeah. Integrately. You see, I wonder... That
same concept, just different brand.
Why do you
might have a look at them.
Why do you use that?
For me, I can use plain English words to tie my systems up. I found Zapier it needed more programming. That's it.
That's it. So I have to get somebody else to do it. But then sometimes, because I'm a control freak, I don't trust it. So I have to spend all of my time sitting there putting different emails into it. Just to check it all works this way. Madness lies. Okay, integrately, folks.
And also, because Zapier had the market for a long, long time, there's some challenger brands that are coming in. So I do like to try a challenger brand now and again.
I know, it wastes an awful lot of time, doesn't it?
But I'm like you though, Sean. I like
Fiddling
with stuff.
I tell you what, I can fiddle for days and convince myself. Well, let's go and have a look at this email tool. It's exactly the same as the one I've got, really. But you never know.
Could be a little bit better or give another function.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been brilliant for us, and it's enabled us to be able to serve and help so many more people.
Barry, have you got a tool?
For me, my tool would be True Coach. It's another application I use for my online coaching. So it enables all my clients to talk to me to talk to them, giving them the training programs, videos. It's a really good way of connecting lots of clients to me rather than using WhatsApp and Facebook and all that stuff.
Really?
So, really.
What's it called? True Coach. TRU?
TRUE.
It hasn't got an E in it.
Hasn't it?
No.
You see, I know.
Okay.
I've written it down. Never heard of it. I've written it down. True Coach. TRUCOACH.
That's the one, yeah.
Oh,
Fantastic bit of kit.
might have to give that a go. So, True Coach, you've got a shout out today. Integrately. I am. Do you know what I'm going to be doing this afternoon? Don't you?
Highly productive work.
Well, it could be useful. Okay, I think we need to get on to the main body of this discussion, which is Christmas collapse. Now, why did we call it Christmas collapse?
I think because most people get to Christmas and they just fall over the line. They're like, ugh. You know, like when you've... I mean, I haven't run a marathon, but I've seen it on TV. When someone gets over the finish line, they just collapse. That's kind of what I imagine Christmas to be like.
Actually, one of the things that I've put down here is sort of exactly that. It's just like, if I can just get to Christmas, I'll just get that. If that's my last event, I'm going to get to Christmas.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I thought was going to happen when I got there. But to me, it feels as though it was like, I'll just get here. I'll just get to Christmas. Everything will be okay. I'll make it there. And then, actually, I'll spend all of Christmas, instead of resting, catching up with everything I should have done over the last year. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we need some help, don't we? So I think that feeling like that, sort of getting to the last day that you're working before Christmas, and then either falling over the line and collapsing, or actually not stopping, and thinking, I can't afford to stop. I can't afford to stop. I need to carry on. I think if you're not already at burnout, if you're not already burning out, it's a pretty good way to probably get yourself there. And for me, it feels like instead of coming into 2022 feeling refreshed and ready to go, if I'm not very careful, I'm going to be coming into 2022 more knackered than I am going out of 2021.
Yeah.
And I think that there are quite a few people who are feeling a little bit like that. What do you reckon?
100%.
Right.
Definitely.
So, Christmas collapse. Shall we talk about burnout?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So, I think it's something that we hear very often in a celebrity context, isn't it? Or so-and-so's burnt out, or they're on Instagram, they're burnt out. What do we mean by burnout?
Burnout basically is where you have worked yourself too much. You've overworked. You've done too much, whether that be work, whether that be family, whether that be friends. It is basically overworking. There are some, actual definitions by the World Health Organization that say that they put it into 3 categories of mental, physical and emotional. But when it comes down to it, when it boils down to it, it is literally just that you're overworked and underrested.
Right, I'm going to challenge that.
Go.
Okay. No, challenge is the wrong word. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just putting how sometimes as business people we can sometimes make that confusing for ourselves, which is I love what I do. Yeah. I love what I do. I don't know that I can stop doing what I do. So how does that fit in with... So if you're a business owner and you with a job, it doesn't really matter, but whatever it is that you're doing on a daily basis, you absolutely love, how can you possibly overdo it?
Well, exactly. And I think it's all very subjective to different people. Do you know what I mean? But there is a line between passion and then falling over the edge of it. Do you know what I mean? But I do think it is... Some people have this much scope, some people have this much scope. But I think once you start to feel exhausted, you're starting to maybe get a bit snappy. You're starting to question your abilities. You're starting to panic. You're starting to not sleep. You may be getting lots of headaches. You know, when you start to recognise you're falling into any of the 3 dimensions of burnout, that's when you maybe need to go, hang on a second. Am I doing a bit too much? You know, am I putting all my eggs in that basket and maybe not looking after myself a little bit?
I'll tell you what the clue was for me. It was looking back and finding that I had made some really, really silly mistakes. Like really silly mistakes. Like I had sent somebody the wrong date for an event. It was this sort of thing, you know, it's not, the world isn't going to end, but these are, you know, I run events. This is what I do. I work with people, I run events. I've got them all there. I know when they are. I'm not plucking them out my head. And it was just little silly things like that. Or I'd send an invoice that had the wrong thing on it. This sort of thing. Really piddly stuff. Which I've only just discovered recently. I'm thinking, oh, okay, my mind's not on the job here.
Yeah.
So what happens when you are burnt out? So what does it look like or feel like being actually burnt out? Not the run-up, but I'm there, burnt out.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I have experience in this, you know, and also with our clients as well. And it's different for everybody when they experience it, because there are actually what they call 3 dimensions of burnout. So you've got physical, mental and emotional. And they all have different symptoms and ways that they show up in people.
Okay. So are we saying that you can have, you physically, you could be quite okay, you can be up and running, but you could still have burnout?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you happy just to run us through some of those, you know, so the symptoms of physical burnout, mental burnout and emotional burnout?
All right, cool. So physical burnout is where you feel absolutely knackered. You know, you can't be bothered to get up, you can't bother to cook your meals, you are waking up and you still feel tired in the morning. Maybe you're getting lots of takeaways because you can't be bothered to eat. Maybe you're noticing a little bit of weight gain. Okay, so that is kind of like the physical exhaustion there, right? When we're looking at the emotional side, that is when you are starting to feel a little bit low about yourself, about the world, questioning your self-belief, your self-worth. Another word they call for that one is powerlessness, where you literally feel like you have no power. You might have outbursts of crying. So you might sit at your desk and then you just be like, and you just burst into tears because you feel like you just can't cope. Then you've got mental side. And mental side is one where a lot of people don't like to admit it because they don't like to think of themselves being like this. But mental side can be very much when you are feeling a little bit cynical about the world. You're having maybe angry outbursts, you're getting very irritated, you're being overly judgmental maybe about people and circumstances. And you go into that more anger state, really, anger and irritable state.
Okay. So, you see, because I always think of somebody being burnt out as like sort of like almost cartoon character-ish, you know, like sort of melted and on the floor and people are stepping over them in Waitrose, you know, sort of carry on. I think what you're saying is you can be upright, you can be talking, you're sort of everything's okay on the surface, but in actual fact, it's not. Even though you may be having little repeated rows with people, you may be having snapping sessions at the checkout and all of this sort of thing. That you could well be burnt out.
Yeah, and I just feel like there's so much pressure upon us nowadays to have the face on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Especially when, you know, you're running your own business, maybe you're coaching people or, you know, that kind of stuff. You have to put this face on, but underneath you're completely broken. You know, it's like the duck, you know, scenario.
And that's not not good for your self-esteem, is it? Because you're effectively sort of lying.
Yeah.
And I don't like lying to my clients. It's not something I would want to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I tend to sort of have the face on, actually.
Yeah.
And be honest, because I'm not perfect and there are times when I just don't feel okay. But that doesn't mean I can't help somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't mean I can't do my job. It just means at the moment I just don't feel okay. That's all right.
And it's I think it comes into the realms of mental health as well. You know, there's a huge stigma around mental health, which we are breaking. And you know how passionate Baz and I are both about that. But burnout, there's a stigma around that. You know, because you even think about it yourself. I know when I was burnt out, I don't know if you've experienced this, Adelle, and I know, you know, Barry, you have. You feel like a fraud. You know, I should be able to do all of this.
Because that's what you're helping people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're coaching somebody, if you're working with other businesses, you yourself have to be able to do everything and not be burning out or under par, so you have to keep going all the time. It's like that sort of it's like the archetypal CEO, isn't it, who just never ever stops working, who then creates a group of employees or people who can never ever stop working, who feel they can't because their CEO isn't giving they're not giving themselves a break.
We had it with one client who manages a large amount of people within a corporate setting, and she was like, I keep getting emails at 10 o'clock at night and I feel like I need to reply to them from my staff. And I'm like, well, you're the boss, right? Yeah. I said, so are they thinking that because you're replying that they need to be sending those emails at 10 o'clock at night? Why don't you say to them, I'm not taking emails after 7 o'clock. You be the lead on that and see how much more productive your team is and how much better you feel about it.
Because we do, don't we? We set the boundaries. And if we make ourselves accessible 24/7, if we're in a leadership position, it gives people the impression that they have to be available 24/7. We're almost imposing our own values on them when we might not want to do that. But also for ourselves, it is about setting those boundaries, isn't it? And we all have out of office. We can all just put that on, which is a way of saying, hey, I got your email, guys, but guess what?
Yeah. And, go on, Adelle.
I say, yeah, absolutely. I talk a lot, again, in my corporate career, but even with the clients that I'm working with, I talk about leadership versus management, and they're quite key. So for me, it's about setting expectations and boundaries. And a lot of the people that I work with, they are running businesses, they're running families, extended families, young children. So but they are the heart of everything. And I say managing is you doing everything. Leadership is stepping up and leading, you know, and it's okay to lead. You've got to give yourself permission for that and set boundaries and then expectations. And then you get boundary drift and all those great things. And again, you just exercise that back. And it's doing those things consistently. So I do a lot of work around taking ownership and leading versus managing. They're fundamentally different. And one is extremely exhausting and one is extremely uplifting. But also you've got to explain to the people around you why. And then when you walk away and they do load the dishwasher and it is not how you want it to be, if you go and correct that, you're going back to management. And actually it may not be perfect. Shut the bloody door and turn it on. Nothing
It'll
will
do.
Yeah, and so sometimes I have to say to them, you can't set expectations. It's not quite perfect. Just shut it. Or you find an hour in your diary, they are doing it, but because you've got a gap, then don't go and do the job that you've asked your whole family to do something else, you know. So sometimes there's that element of it as well, and it's just working that through and coaching them through that. And I've just find otherwise you're always going to be constantly exhausted. Or you're going to go through 90 days of burn, and then you burn out, and then you break that cycle. So I say to you, you really have to make a massive step change so you don't go in these circles. I see people burn out, get strong again, burn out. So you get yo-yo burnout as you do yo-yo dieters, and you've got to break the cycle. So I try and help the women that I work with break that cycle. Love it.
Because I think we do spend a lot of time, especially with social media, looking at other people and making comparisons, don't we?
Comparisonitis. It should go in the dictionary.
And all that we're actually seeing are the highlights of people's lives, aren't we? We're seeing the events that they're running. We're seeing them on stage. We're seeing them with their launching their new programs. We're not seeing them. We're not seeing. We're not seeing them when their tracky bottoms have fallen down again. They're absolutely knackered. And they're sort of lying on the floor swearing at people. We tend not to see that.
No, don't put that on
But
the story.
here's the thing, that goes back to your planning and setting goals for the new year, because that was part of my burnout, wasn't it?
What, comparisonitis?
Yeah.
100%. But the thing is, with comparisonitis, we compare their highlight reel with our low light reel.
We do.
never have a proper comparison. We don't compare our highlights with their highlights. We do opposite ends of the spectrum.
Well, we don't. We very often, unless it's somebody who's actually sort of operating in this realm, we very often don't see their low lights.
But also, have you set what is success for you? Because I know that was a huge thing for me. One of my coaches said to me, because I was like, they're doing this, I'm not doing that. Oh my gosh, they're doing this. Oh, they must be really successful. I need to do that. But my coach said to me, Loz, what is success for you? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Because I was focusing on them and their success and their goals. They're nothing like me. What's my measure of success and what are my goals? Let me stay in my lane and do that. And since we've done that, it's been so much better, isn't it?
So much more healthier.
On that sort of score, one of the things that I learned as a manager and managing lots of people at one go, including myself, is that what we tend to do is focus on what we don't do very well. Now, I can think of there are millions and millions of things that I don't do well, that I'm absolute crap, and there's even more that I'm absolutely crap at. There's probably about 3 things that I do well. But what do? We focus on the things that we can't do. And I think that's ingrained into us. Sometimes at school when, we have to pass an exam, we're crap at maths. So what happens? We have to get better at maths. Nobody says, hey, but you are the most fantastic dancer or artist. Forget about maths. Go and do that. And I think we maybe get this sort of mindset of we have to get better at what we're useless at. And poodle along in the stuff that we're okay at, that we're really good at. We don't worry about that. That's okay. Well, you're good at that. Let's make ourselves better. And as we get older, and certainly as we're running our own business, that is going to destroy you, isn't it?
Yeah,
100%.
Because there's so much I can't. There is so much I can't do.
Outsource what you can't do.
If I set about trying to improve at what I'm useless at, well, nothing would happen.
Just do what you excel at, and then get other people to do the stuff that you're not good at.
Or don't do it, actually. Actually, just don't do it, or find a way that works for you.
That's why I think journaling is so powerful, to change the language in your head. And, even if you journaled in the morning, what can I do well? And then in the evening, what did I do well today? It starts to change that language pattern that you're talking about, yourself, which then starts to change your focus, which will then start to change your future. And it's the language that we're using. Oh, I'm crap at that. I'm rubbish at this. Well, if that is the language that you're speaking all the time, that is where your focus is going to be, and that is what your future will be. So having like a journaling practice where you even just write down, what can I do? What can I control? What did I do well today? Where are my skills? It starts to change your language that you're thinking and you're speaking, and then what you speak into creation then starts to change your focus. Your focus then starts to change. You get more self-esteem. You praise yourself, and then that changes your future and the outcome of what's going on.
And very often you can find a way of doing something that you want to do in a way that's right for you. I don't like going live on social media. I don't like myself standing there going, hi, well, here I am. That is just, I see people do it brilliantly. And for a while I thought, oh, God, I really ought to do that. But I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at it. But I do enjoy interviewing people. But whoever said I have to go live like everybody else does,
Yeah.
just myself?
Yeah.
I can go live interviewing people. I
Yeah.
do it on the radio. I can do it on social media.
You're really good at your gentle reminders, aren't you? I'm not so good at them because I'm not as friendly in the first 15 seconds. You're brilliant at it.
So aggressive. So aggressive.
Sorry. Gentle reminders.
So on Instagram, 2 to 3 times a week, I go and do a gentle reminder, and it's like really short. It's about 9 seconds, 15 seconds maximum, and it's just a gentle reminder of the day. So it could be a gentle reminder: moving your body makes you feel better.
You see, I might have to
really-
steal that. Excuse me.
They're,
That's the other-
they're like little reels,
Really
aren't they?
simple, little reels, and like Loz can waffle until the cows come home. I can't. It's short, sharp segments for me. So I do what I do best. I can't stand up like you, do the live, talk for hours and hours and hours. It's got to be 1 line, 2 line maximum, done.
But that's what we did in our business as well. This is what changed our dynamic in our business, because you were getting frustrated you couldn't do social media, and I was getting frustrated that I couldn't PT clients. And then we were like, okay, wait, hang on a second. What are you good at? What are you good at? Let's just do that. You know, let's just do that. And since we've done that, everything runs perfectly. Everyone knows what they're doing.
It is, isn't it? So you found a way to do the lives.
Yep.
And I think, talking about those, because I think it's something that very often business people do find tricky. Something they want to do and either don't do, or then decide they're going to do it and hate doing it. But you found a way to do it in a way that you enjoy doing, that works for you. Short,
100%.
sweet. You're not doing it because you shout at people.
I very much listen up, people.
But you could do it, perhaps not the gentle reminder. Perhaps you can do the boot camp approach, because sometimes people need that. So you found a way of doing what you do in a way that works for you.
It took a lot of finding out, because I was trying to do what Loz was doing. I was trying to do what I was seeing other people do, and it was that horrible gut-wrenching feeling before you push the live button. You think, what am I doing this for? I hate this feeling. And when you're on it, you just, am I talking rubbish? Am I talking this? So I thought, I'm not doing no more.
You see, and then that I really like that. A little while ago, I made a decision that I didn't really want to do stuff that I didn't want to do. But how many coaches are telling us that you have to push through, and you have to do this, and you have to grasp it and do stuff you don't want to do, and feel the fear and live the fear and jump off the cliff. And I thought, actually, why do I have to do all of that? Why don't I just do what I'm really comfortable at? Because I still have my challenges within that.
There's a number of different ways you can deliver your message and help that one person you want to help out. So find your way. Don't try and do it someone else's way, because they're going to say, oh, you're just like that person. No, do it your way. Do it the way you want to do it, and you become your own person then.
But I also think intention is behind a lot of it. If you're thinking, I've got to do this, what you then create, what you then say, what you deliver, how you help people,
It's an aggressive message.
is an aggressive message, right? It's that intention where you're coming from. Like today, coming up here, if my intention was like, oh, God, I'm going to be on the radio with these guys, I would have been like, and
We hear that a lot.
But, our intention is we're going to come up, we're going to see you guys, we're going to have a chat, we're going to have a laugh, and we're going to maybe help one person, and it just comes from a different space, right?
You see, how often do you hear things like, well, just punch through it?
Yeah.
And when I start going, actually, I don't think I really want to punch through it, as it so happens. I don't really fancy that. What I could do is this. What am I trying to do here? What am I trying to achieve? It doesn't mean it has to be, you never stretch yourself.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between stretching yourself and punching through and living in fear and...
Hustle.
Yeah, and hustle.
I think when you punch through something, somebody's going to punch you back. And then you get that resistance, that force, equal and opposite reactions to it. So if you're trying to fight something, it's going to fight back all the way with you. So you've got to relax and allow yourself to do it and find your way of doing it.
Nothing in nature is forced. You can't look at a rose and go, bloom, 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 because it won't do it, right? And it's the same. We have clients come to us like, I want to change my career, but I don't know what to do. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, don't think about it.
Stop.
Stop it.
Let it happen.
Yeah, exactly. It will I'm going to go woo, right? The universe has no timescale for us at all whatsoever. But the problem is we're under so much pressure from social media, from money, from this, because we see earn 10K in a month, all this kind of stuff. And it puts so much pressure on us that we stop being our true self. We stop our passion, and then it becomes apathy, it becomes burnout, it becomes cynicism, all these things.
And that's one of our messages, is slow down.
But you are... I've dropped my pen on the floor now. Hang on, excuse me a minute.
It's because it shocked you so much.
It's so interesting.
I'm back.
Build on that. I say slow down to speed up, because again, I was in a group yesterday with some women and going, oh, it was like a mastermind, just like a power hour that I have in this network, and they went, oh, can somebody tell me I should have a Facebook group? And then we all said, what was
Why
the word?
should you?
Why should? Because the formula that we're seeing is we should. And I said, we actually counted on our hands how many times she had said should, and we all said, okay, so what's the problem you're trying to fix? Where's your clients? What's the intent? And trust me, guys, there is more than social media to build your business. Yeah. So again, we were talking about that element of sitting back, slow down and go, what's the problem? What's the intent? But she said, but I'm watching everybody else, and we should. And in the end, we banned the word should from the hour. But it's, again, that was literally what we had.
And I think this is where a lot of burnout happens. Two things. The first is you cannot make it go any faster. It doesn't matter how fast you pedal. It doesn't matter what you do. It won't go any faster, will it? It will go at the pace that it's supposed to go at. And the other thing I think that happens is when we're shoulding, going, I should do this, I should do that. What we do is we then do it. But what we haven't done is actually looked, and I'm going to use the Facebook group as an example. We haven't actually really looked at what's involved there. It is not easy to run a Facebook group properly, but it's very easy to set one up. But if you don't sit there and look and actually go, okay, what is actually going to happen here? What has to happen on a daily basis? What sort of management is going to go on in there? What if somebody says something nasty? How am I going to deal with that? What sort of community do I want? What are the rules? You know, all of that sort of thing. It's a lot of hard work, and I think if we don't take a step back, we end up... And I wouldn't want anybody to think this was the sort of thing I'd ever done, obviously. We end up implementing something really fast, or starting something really fast without thinking about how we're going to follow through, and then we end up being stressed.
It's that intention again.
Yeah.
You know, that place where you're coming from. It's like when we talk to our guys, you know, we're talking to them about sit down, take a break, you know, do some journaling, do a meditation. If you go into it, we call it intentional action. If you go into it, they're like, oh, I've got to do this because, you know, Loz and Baz said it was good. But if you go into it saying, you know what, I'm going to take 10 minutes, I'm going to have a cuppa, because I know on the other side of that, I'm going to turn up as a happier mum. I'm going to be able to have a clear head to serve my clients. I'm going to be able to create amazing social media to help people. When you come from a place of intention like that, the game changes. You show up as a different person, 100%.
So...
the fingers come out.
The fingers out. Where's it come out from? The fingers out. Is having intention almost the opposite of guilt? Do you think sometimes we do things out of guilt because some of it because we should, but guilt? I should do this with the kids. I should do that with my partner. I should do that with my mum or my dad. All of this should sort of stuff, and we end up worn out. Yeah.
So we teach something called De-Stress Me Time, and we have an acronym, GIFT, because De-Stress Me Time puts you in the present moment, because all too often we're in the future, because the present moment is a gift, but we feel guilt because we should be doing this, or my mum never took a rest when she brought me up when I was younger, right? So you've got that, you've got identity in the fact that you end up losing who you are and you become the job or the role or the mum or the dad, right? Then you've got F, which is fulfillment, which we never have because we're never taking time out. And then you've got T, time, which is, again, I haven't got time to do this, and it's where that intention comes from. Did that answer your question? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, it sort of did,
Yeah.
It sort of did that. Instead of doing things out of guilt, we need to do them out of intention. And I think doing things out of guilt must be incredibly stressful.
Yeah, you get bitter then.
Yeah, yes.
And resentful, and that's when you go
Yes,
into burnout of mental.
Yeah, and then that's exhausting. Okay, look, we haven't got too much longer left, so I want to make sure that people know how they can contact you. So how can people get hold of you?
If they come over to Instagram, we're always on there, Rock Solid UK. You can come and find us there, or on Facebook, Rock Solid Healthy, or just drop us an email.
And people can work with you. You have groups.
Yes,
You have groups as well as one-to-one.
I tell you what, or if they go to Instagram and you go to our bio, we've actually got a burnout self-assessment which you can do. And based off of that, we'll send you our 10 top tips on how to manage your energy that we've used.
We've got a few minutes left, so I thought what we could do, seeing as we've called this Christmas collapse, is we have got this Christmas period coming up. A lot of people are going to be spending time doing things that they may not want to do, or not doing things that they plan to do. How can we avoid this Christmas collapse and come out of it the other side feeling refreshed?
I think a good thing is go into it with the positive intentions. Set your day up in sections. So if you're going around to the in-laws and you think, oh my God, I'm going to the in-laws, that's a section. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to make the best of that situation, rather than going in it with that dread and that, oh my God, what have I got to do here? And then when you come out of there, refresh yourself, the next section of the day, I'm going to go around to the grandparents, go in there with that positive section. So you're not taking the whole day as one big thing. You section it off and you enter and you leave each section.
That's excellent. That is excellent.
Thank you.
I really, really like that. You sort of compartmentalised the misery. but do you know what I mean?
It's easier to deal with smaller
yes,
things.
you've put a beginning and an end on it, so it doesn't just go, oh my God, it's forever. Okay, I love that.
Take
Sorry,
away and use it.
I sort of stopped.
My gift to you for Christmas.
I sort of stopped you. No, I'm fine. Actually, I'm not going anywhere or doing anything. I'll be racked with guilt, but that's it. Never mind. I've always got excuses as to why I don't have to do stuff. Sorry, I sort of stopped you, didn't I? So, compartmentalise it.
Yep.
It's not going to go on forever. Set an intention for each section.
That's it.
Get through it, do it, come out the other side. Anything else to avoid
Each section has gratitude in it. Rather than a negative thought pattern in it, have what gratitude and how can I be grateful about this moment in time? So you're present, you're being grateful, and you're having small sections of chunks to deal with.
Okay, is there anything else? No?
There's loads if you want it, but that's
I think we've got a couple more minutes. Let's get people through Christmas. What about people who've decided that they've got an awful lot of stuff to get done over the Christmas period?
Yeah.
Let's look at it business wise. They've got a lot of stuff to get done, and they've got to the Christmas period has now arrived, and they're thinking, actually, do you know, I'm a bit knackered.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I'd like to add to people is just sitting on the sofa doing nothing doesn't have to be the de-stress me time. Some people do stuff that you enjoy doing that fills your cup up, because sitting on the sofa thinking I'm just going to relax over Christmas period, you're not going to really fill your cup up just by watching junk on TV and putting junk in your face. Do something that really fills you up, whether it is go for a walk in nature, whether it is go for a bike ride, whether it is play with the kids. Do something that really puts you in the present moment, in contact with nature, that fills you up. And it could be doing a marathon if that's your thing. If that's your thing,
No,
go
not
and
me.
do it.
Good job it's not TV, isn't it?
The shock on their faces. But do stuff that fills your cup up. It doesn't have to be just sitting on the sofa doing nothing.
I think, a lot of business owners, like even myself, I'm thinking, right, okay, I've finished, but you're still ticking in the back of your mind. Oh, I've got to do that. I must do this. I must do that. Da, da, da. And I think one thing would be to write a list of everything you've got to do, okay, and then just know nobody's going to be doing anything over the Christmas period. Nobody's going to be doing anything. This week, I've hardly been on social media much because no one gives a shit. Everybody's trying to wrap the presents and get the turkey and all that kind of stuff, right? You know, and just realise that nobody is going to be doing anything over those 2 days. Give yourself a break, write everything down. It goes back to the beginning, plan it.
Yeah.
Plan it next week.
Write a list.
Yeah, if you know that you've got stuff to do, just program in an hour or two next week and go, right, I'm going to work on that then. I'm going to give myself 90-minute block.
So focus.
Yeah.
Focus. I've got a few things that I've written down here
Go.
that I think that are what you spoke about, that I think are the key points here about avoiding burnout, be that in the long term or over a short period of time like the Christmas, which is boundaries, setting boundaries, set your own boundaries and accepting that that's actually okay to do.
We're going to be talking about that a lot in January.
Yeah. Regardless of what anybody else may be telling you that they want you to do or that you think you have to do, you feel obliged to do, setting your own boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And write them out.
Yep.
And stick them on the wall.
Yep.
And let other people know your boundaries.
And protect your time ferociously like a guard dog.
And the other one was intention.
Mm-hmm.
Decide what your intention is. I think for everything sort of that you're doing, it could be, you know, little things, everyday things. Decide what is my intention here.
From the moment you get up, wake up, what's my intention? My intention is to go and have a shower, to clean myself down, to wash the night off. My intention is to go and have a healthy breakfast. My intention is to go and move my body. Where's the intention coming from? Because if we figure out what the intention is, the purpose and the why is just phenomenal.
And also, it stops us. It stops us with some of the negative stuff, doesn't it?
Kills the negative.
Because intention is forwards.
Yeah.
What do I intend to do here?
We have
A really good build on that to protect your own energy is what is the intent of the person interacting with me? So what is the intent of that feedback? So intent for me, you've got to look at both ways. Your intent going into something and the intent of somebody interacting with you. Because if you miss that, then you can lose that. So again,
Yeah.
I look at intent from both ways.
Because not everybody is looking at it from helping you,
No, they're
are
not.
they? Everybody has their own intention. They
Intentions.
may not be conscious of it, but they have their own intention.
all we can control is ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
The other thing I got is deciding on what success is for you. And I think that stops us rattling on, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So decide what success is for you and allowing stuff to just be okay. So actually that will do.
Yeah.
Otherwise you never stop improving. It's never good enough, is it?
Yep. Yep.
I think that was it, actually. I can't think of anything else. Can't think of anything else at all. So, what are and this is perhaps the wrong time to do this, but some of the very, very early signs of burnout. Well, look, we've got 1 minute. This is what we want people to be thinking about and being attuned into, and then making sure that they set those boundaries, they have an intention, they build in enough time for themselves. Very quickly, is there any really quick stuff?
Are you starting to lose your passion for what you're doing?
Okay.
Right.
Snapping at
Are
people.
you snapping and having arguments? Are you sat in front of the computer and you're like, foggy-headed?
Opening and closing apps.
Flitting a lot of the
Yes.
time, flitting around and feeling just exhausted. Waking up feeling exhausted and being like, I can't bother to do that exercise class, or I can't
Even
bother
if
to
you-
cook my meal.
So,
Even if you wake up in the morning, doesn't matter how much sleep you've had, you still don't feel refreshed.
folks, I think we are going to have to go now. We are going to wish everybody out there listening a fantastic happy Christmas.
Christmas.
We have got these guys back in the new year. So thank you so much from Adelle, from Laura, Barry Ash, Rock Solid. I'm Sian Murphy. We are going to be back here on the 3rd of January. Have a fantastic time, everybody. Take care. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Tune in next week to the Women in Business radio show for more stories, ideas, and inspiration to help you grow your business.